Welcome to Mick and the Psychic, where we leave no stone unturned as we explore all things outside the apparent physical realm.
There is no intent to teach or make you believe or disbelieve anything. It is just a safe space to listen and explore with us.
So for this next episode, you have permission to open your heart and mind as you join myself and Xavier on this deep dive into the unknown.
Probably one of my favourite experiences is when I've been shown, taken across and shown where they are. Wow, it's like that pure unconditional love, I call it. It's like just this, opening of the heart.
We have a very exciting podcast ahead of us today because we have a cowgirl in our midst, and she also happens to be a medium. It's Tonia Reeves. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, we're very excited to have you. And I should, just for the listeners, give a bit of a rundown of who you are. As Tonia is Australia's much-loved psychic medium through her work with America's Psychic Radio. She's expanded her audience to the US and Canada, and hopefully she can get out of the country and do some traveling there soon, which would be nice. She combines her love of connecting with clients to their loved ones in spirit and travel, and she does that cruising around in her upgraded and new RV, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, not brand new, but new to us. Yeah.
New to you. Visiting many remote locations and doing shows for live audiences as well as in-person readings. You started your journey qualifying under Lisa Williams and also trained and qualified in Louise Hay workshops, facilitating and coaching. So that's pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to asking you a little bit about that because I'm very aware of Louise Hay's work. And you're a hairdresser before that for 21 years.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why you can get that bright.
That's right. I'm grateful now. When I have to go on stage and do things, I can do my hair.
You can stay on brand, and part of on brand is your love for country and horses, hence why your cowgirl roots are very much a part of your mediumship and your presence, as we can see your beautiful cowgirl hat and shirt, and probably jeans that you fed the horses in this morning, but because you don't have to stand up, that's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, in my hair.
We have so many questions about mediumship, and I don't know about horses, but definitely very interested in your mediumship and your background. And Xavier also some similar work, but love to know more. How did you get started into this? Were you one of those psychics that was a child and just continued on with psychic understanding, or did it grow at a certain age for you?
No, it didn't open up to me or for me until I was 40. So I'm 52 now. Wow. And for me, it was something that I was aware of looking back, and now in hindsight, I was aware that there was more out there. I always kind of got through life feeling watched and feeling like there was people around, but never fully being able to put my finger on that. And my parents sort of weren't really into, anything. So spiritual kind of stuff wasn't something we had a conversation about, or, it was within our family. I did have the basis of going to Sunday school when I was young because my grandfather on my father's side was a minister. So I did have that bit of, that sort of, I suppose, slight spiritual experience then, but really didn't necessarily take that into, I bought a hair salon and was a hairdresser for so many years. And looking back, I picked up so much from my clients that I just kind of went, oh, that was, how did I know that? And just, little things like that. So looking back, it would probably have been a bit more obvious if I had have, been aware, but it really took till I was 40. And basically I just went, you know what, I might go and do a workshop on psychic development because it just fascinated me. And I, so went along and did that. And my teacher now, who Xavier knows as well, Denise, who is amazing, she often will share the story about how I started. And basically my intro was, I'm a hairdresser. I don't even know why I'm here. So
wow. And so we have such a similar, and it's really refreshing hearing that, because we would hear so often people advertise them as natural born psychics. That term gets thrown around, and then
Yeah.
it's sort of like, yes, I've been doing this ever since childhood. It's passed down through my family, and it's like, I don't know, I kind of comes up with, I don't get offended. It's more like, because I sort of discovered mine later in life too. It was in my early 30s, and now I'm like 31 or something, and now I'm 40. And so then as we're learning, we're realizing, I was the same, that I've been doing some of this stuff all these years and didn't realize.
Yes.
Because of our parents, maybe our upbringing, it's not talked about, and similar kind of thing. They were a bit open-minded, but yeah, so it's really nice hearing somebody else that it didn't kick in till later.
Yeah.
But then you get what you're ready for. So did you find that as soon as you started learning, bam, it just comes really quickly, like it did for me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I look back and think, all those years of hairdressing, connecting with people,
Yes.
being someone that people could confide in, and honoring that process, of, people had come in with problems, making them feel better, and then they'd leave. And even doing the Louise Hay, like when I went and trained Louise Hay here in Australia, and, really getting into that personal development kind of area, those grounding things that I did, just prior to stepping into this, now have really come to the fore, because they're things that I can draw on when I'm connecting, with people, having, learned a lot through those past experiences. So to me, I feel like, the timing was ideal that I had that behind me.
Of course, yeah.
What made you follow, like, what made you seek it out then? Because it was obviously, when you say, I don't know why I'm here, when you're in the training, what did make you go there? Like, what was it that changed and you just went, I have to, was it just interest, or?
It was seriously a hunch. And again, I was really pushed, and I didn't fully understand why, but it was a little bit like the Louise Hay, when I used to travel a bit with my hairdressing. We'd have conferences throughout the year, and every time I went to the airport, I'd buy a book, and I'd bought this book this time, and the Hay House, they give you a bookmark, and the Hay House bookmark fell out. And I went, I must check that out. And then I think a week and a half later, I got home, jumped on the computer and just checked out Hay House, and up flashed Louise Hay workshop, facilitator workshop in October, and I think it was in August. And I'm like, and I just had this knowing I had to do it. So at that time, I still had my hair salon. October was a time that was banned from anyone having holidays. It was the busiest time. I had one other staff member on holidays at that time. So everything was like, I didn't have the money to do it, all these things. And I just rang the workshop facilitator, and she was like, no, come, you can pay it off even after you've done it. Come along, you're more than welcome. So, and so it all aligned, and I feel the same with stepping in and, just trusting that gut feeling that I needed to do that psychic development course. And I needed Denise as my teacher, because I really felt, and a bit like you, Xavier, you would be aware as you're older, you kind of need someone that can help build that confidence, because it's not something you've done for many years. So you're kind of starting out blind and then going, okay, I need somebody that can really help with that. And I feel really blessed that I found her to start with, because she gave me fantastic grounding. And it was only 18 months after that I went and trained with Lisa Williams at her advanced mediumship course that she held here in Australia. So 18 months at that, it was at that level to be able to do that. So
that's what I meant about how fast, because I know when I started learning, you're just like bang, 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 so quick. And then it happens now when I mentor others, they can't believe how quickly they pick things up as well. And they're not all really young or anything. They're all different ages. Even I've mentored someone in their 60s or 70s, and she's picked it up really fast, and she's started doing readings online now. Like, how cool is it?
So cool. That is so cool. And
never too. If you're interested in it, that's the biggest sign. I used to go to fairs and things and go get a mini reading from a psychic, and that's how I started. I met one of those, and then I found her card again 5 years later, and then went and got a proper treatment, and then joined a class. Like, so follow the signs, use your intuition, and
you psychics are dodgy, because this Louise Hay bookmark that's on the ground, and I found something 5 years later. It's almost like you do supernatural marketing that other people don't have access to. So it's
really
kind of cheating.
go around and drop hints and hope the intuitive people pick them up, and all these people with closed, I don't know how we describe it, third eyes or something, living in the dark, wouldn't notice the signs you put out. It's not how it works, Michael.
Oh, okay.
I actually like the way you slipped out the psycho part,
Yeah.
I often love to do that, when I intro a show. I'm like, I'm a psychic, but hey, if you ask my partner, there might be an open on the end of there, and it might be like psycho, but yeah, you're on the money.
It might be one of those things where it's psychic is just short for psycho chick, and you just put it together and it's psychic. Is that? No.
What's that?
Yeah.
You guys aren't psycho. No, that's great. It's interesting. You said looking back, because Xavier's talked about this before as well. You say that looking back after you'd done a lot of this mediumship development, that there were a lot of things that you would, looking back, you picked up that was going on along the time. Were there things that happened that you look back on now that make more sense while you're doing the hairdressing? Because it's almost like you've done your, you need that 10,000 hours of practice before you master something. Yeah. Conversations with people, I think you've done that 40 times over as a hairdresser. Were there things that you look back now and you go, oh, wow, that makes more sense now? Were there any kind of weird? Yeah,
so absolutely. I used to pick up, I'd be like, someone's pregnant, I'd be doing their hair and I'd pick up they were pregnant. And then, it was just like things would come up and I'd be like, but at the time you kind of dismiss it. And then they might not say it that haircut, but the next haircut they go, oh, you won't believe it, I'm pregnant. Or, they might come in and say, guess what? I'm excited. I think I'm either going to be moving here or there. And I'd go, oh, no, I think you're moving there. And they'd come back and go, oh, my God, you're right. And, there was so many that said, oh, my God, your guidance and support was so cool. And, and I think that's, besides the ability to do great hair, I feel like there was a lot of an aspect of that where people would come in and get more. It wasn't just about the hair.
Beautiful. That is really helpful for people to be. I know there'll be people listening now. And it's funny. I see people's reactions when listening in future. And so, I just, people going, that's what happens to me. I'm like the confidant, and I seem to always find the right words.
Yes.
There's people that always know what to write in a birthday card, which I've always been told. Like, I used to have people coming up to me as this is really weird. When I was like 14, I'd have older kids asking me questions about sex, and I would just know the answer, but wasn't doing anything. But like things like that, like they would just ask me advice all the time. Like, why do they always come to me for advice? But I would just speak, and that's clear cognizance now that we know, like just inner knowing, it would just come through. And so it's like, how do I know these things? So but people listening will be like, wow, that's funny. I always seem to be the advice person, and I don't know where it comes from. Maybe I'm sorry. Maybe you are, if you're listening and going, whoa. So you come and see someone like us, or go to a course that you're drawn to or something.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be a famous psychic and go do readings for people as a job. It's just great to learn to use your intuition.
Absolutely. And that's what I find, there's a lot that I connect with that, that really are fascinated and want to delve into the connection of, whether it's mediumship or psychic side of things. And to me, it's like encourage everyone, because it is kind of like a superpower that if you can connect into what feels right for you and get those answers, it's not that you have to go and read for anyone else, but we want to be able to make decisions and go, you know what, that I know that if I connect to my inner guidance, it's a hell yes. It's not, oh, I'm unsure. And, sure, we still have those times, but for the most part of it, we can take a moment to check in and say, all right, what's my sixth sense saying? And we all have it. And it's not just a chosen few that do. So it is great to say, okay, let's vamp that up and develop that, because why wouldn't you really?
Exactly. Being a trust, lots of people would say like they're not sure, they can't trust their decision making, and they make choices with partners, relationships, jobs, and it's gone backwards, and they think, well, I obviously can't trust my own intuition. So developing that would be
absolutely
great.
And for me, with the work I do around grief and loss, it's a really important one for those that are here experiencing that grief and that loss, to get some reassurance that the loved one is still around. And I feel like as the medium, I'm the conduit to that, but also once you open that connection, it's really that person's eyes, it's like they can't go back to sleep then. So once you connect, whether it's for a reading in a group situation or a one-on-one reading, and you're bringing through that validation for them, then they can move forward and go, okay, I can see those signs now, and quite possibly they were always there, but they were just very much in their head about it, going, oh, it's a coincidence, that his favorite song keeps coming on, or that things keep happening over and over. So I think if we can give that validation, that makes a big difference for people.
Fantastic.
So what made you go into mediumship specifically? Was it something that like, were you exposed to that beforehand while you were developing or finding out more of your psychic abilities? Was mediumship something that was always there, or?
No, not really. Basically, like when I started, I was getting all this information, and then the way that I was delivering it and exploring the development side of things, and where is it coming from and who am I connecting with, it was really my teacher that said, you're a medium, like that's. So then from there, I kind of, any sort of development that I did was based around, more so mediumship. And over the time, I have done a number of courses with international teachers, because I was hungry to learn everything, and they would pull me aside and say, your mediumship is really strong. And and that was for me like, really? Because I felt a bit like, seriously, there's a lot of really good people here, but it was nice to get that confirmation, and I really felt really honored to get that feedback. And these are people that I really had a lot of respect for in the industry. And when we were building our house where I am at the moment, just a quick story on Lisa Williams. I used to listen to her podcasts, and while I was painting, because it got to you own a build, and at the end you've got no money left, so guess who does the painting? So it was like I had this house to paint, and so I was like, oh my God, and so I used to listen to Lisa doing her readings, and that was before I went and trained with her. But I always loved her work, and I enjoyed her series, and was always fascinated, and not expecting that years later I would be training with her. So I feel like that was again another sign. And the same with Carmel from Canada. I used to watch Mum's a Medium. I used to stay up deliberately late and watch that show. And now I've connected with her and connected with her personally as well. And she's an amazing medium. And, it was almost like that was years prior as well. So sometimes, you look at how spirit gives you, it's almost like, here, I'll give you that. And then the pieces come together later on.
Mm-hmm. That's
beautiful. So I love that.
It's almost like that saying, God or the universe won't give you something you can't handle. So it's the same kind of thing. You were given a lot of this along the way, so that by the time you're ready, it all clicks together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And even opportunities. When I trained with Lisa, one of her biggest things was, if you want to follow this path, you have to own it. So you have to be prepared to step into it. And like Xavier knows, in this industry, like with mediumship, it's not an exact science. So to put your hand up and say, I'm a medium, I'm going to step in and do this. It's not easy. It is not.
That took a while.
It's tricky to navigate, and people don't realize that. As much as now I think we're more open to it than we ever, used to be, there's still that stigma attached to, I do something that's weird, or, so to actually step into that fully and go, okay, yeah, I'm happy to be a bit of a weirdo. It takes a lot of guts, and it takes a lot of staying power to not only just say that, but to honor it. So from, I suppose that was probably one of the biggest things that I, would encourage people that are really feel drawn on this path, is to really look at owning it. And when you do that, things just come along. And sometimes you might start off going, I'm going to do mediumship, and then you might go to more the psychic kind of work, or you might go to more healing. So the more that you surrender to that process, the more you'll be guided to go where you need. And for me, my first platform demonstration was a friend that I trained with who messaged me by mistake. And I'd made this deal with spirit. Like, once Lisa said, right, you have to own it, my deal was, if an opportunity came up, I had to say yes.
Right.
So, my first ever.
How is my favorite.
Yeah. So, that was first time ever in front of an audience, and it was at a women's retreat with 25 to 30 women. So, and thankfully spirit showed up, and it was great. And, so I think that, like, when you really step into that alignment and just trust, and that really has been my journey on this. Like, yesterday I got to join in, like I was saying before, to the City of Light Spiritualist Church in Lilydale. Now, Lilydale is the most highly regarded place, or one of up there, in mediumship. It's just, that's famous, and this church of really amazing souls, they hold there once a month. You have to be invited. It's not something you can just connect in and do. And it was only because, Scott from Animal Dreaming he's had the floods up where he is. So he said, hey, can you step in for me? And I'm like, oh, okay. Yes. So that was amazing. And I got to do readings, for their church and have a bit of a chat. So, yeah, I think, when you're in alignment, it's about surrendering to that process and knowing that all that's meant to be will come along, in whatever shape or form it is. And I love the psychic work too. Like, it certainly wasn't that I went, I have to go into mediumship. I was kind of open to either. Mm-hmm. And it's just really been more that I was guided, to follow this path.
Can I just say, before we started recording, we were talking about how psychics and mediums seem to affect technology and light. As you were talking, your salt lamp in the background's been turning off and on.
She passes the test. All right, it's real. It's real. Anyone listening that isn't watching on YouTube, it's fine. She's real. She's real.
So funny. I just wanted to say, I wanted to give it a little example, because you were saying how if you say yes and trust, that it will just start coming. So for me, I thought this might help some people too. I was very much a psychic. I'd learned that because of the difference. And I've explained this before, Tonia, and interrupt me if you see it differently. Psychics will connect with maybe your higher self and spirit guides and things like that. The bit of mediums connecting with loved ones in spirit that have actually passed away. Although guides are too, they might have passed away too, so it's a bit confusing, but that's more of the specialty. Venn
diagram.
Yeah, it's like so yeah, I was sometimes getting mediumship, and I'd come to a couple of your what are they called, classes.
Those. That's right. Women's circles.
Circles, yes, where you were teaching mediumship, specifically like a mediumship women's circle. And that was really cool. And it had been coming through that mediumship was interesting to me. Well, I was always already doing healings and chakra balancing and things like that. And so I thought, okay, universe, if I'm supposed to be a medium, show me, like, give me hints, bring it on, help me. And of course, every client, I didn't advertise mediumship yet, I definitely wasn't ready for that, but every client that would come in and book for a healing would ask me if I can do mediumship, or can I connect with their loved one. And I'm like, so I'd always say the same thing: I will give it a go. I can't promise anything, but we'll see what happens. And then every time that would happen, that would come through, and I'd be able to connect, and it would be beautiful healing, and I'd teach them about what happens when they cross over and their loved one to come through. And we all have different strengths, which is another question I would like to ask about how you see things and how you get your messages, because we'd be very different. And so it kept happening and happening. And then I remember one client I have, I'd been connecting with her husband in person, and then they'd reunited and became friends again. They were going through like a separation, and I'd just sort of done psychic counseling with both of them separately, and then one class together. Then amazingly, after this connection, not long after, he died suddenly. And that was a bit of a shock, of course, to her, because they'd just sort of made up friends again, which we thought was beautiful, that they had this healing before he passed suddenly. So then the next time I saw her, I hadn't been able to make it to the funeral. I was invited, which was beautiful. I didn't get to go. But then I was tuning in, and he was showing me everything that happened at the funeral, and showing me there was motorbikes lined up, and he was saying thank you. And he showed me that there was a picture and a helmet on a table, and I was explaining it all. And she goes, "Can you call yourself a medium now?" So I went, you know what? I think I will. So that night I went and changed it to psychic medium.
Yeah.
I felt confident enough that. So then it happened that then my messages would just come through stronger, because I changed my title and I said yes. But for me, it was really hard to actually say it. And okay, because I felt like I was supposed to be like John Edwards.
Yeah.
You know, so you compare yourself to the more famous ones, and I'm like,
absolutely,
I don't get messages the same way. I see it differently.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know how, like, how do you, when you connect, how do you get?
How's it come to you?
It's a name that sounds with R. Like, names in real life are not my strong point, so I don't even get names. They just tell me.
You've got no chance then.
I don't. Yeah. So mediumship's not my main thing. My main thing is self-love and balancing energy and past lives, things like that. But I do mediumship, whereas I think it's safe to say that mediumship is your jam. That's your main thing. So I'm looking to you as the guru, my mentor for me, that would know more about it possibly than me, even though I do it as well. But so how do you connect? Do you get names and signs and feelings, and we can compare the difference? Because some people listening might be like I was thinking, I have to be like John Edward. And
I know it's a hard act to follow, isn't it? It's like I was the same with, like, you know, Lisa Williams, or following on from a show, you know, it's like, oh my God. For me, it's a real mixture. I probably started off with more being able to see, you know, a spirit to start with.
The physical eyes or in your head?
Yeah, third eye. So yeah, definitely utilizing.
I understand, because they expect to see them with their eyes, and when we say see, we mean with our third eye.
Yeah, clairvoyantly. And so, and I think too, when I started, I expected to hear a voice. I was like, oh, am I going to hear, you know, because it sounds so cool to hear a voice in your head. And for me, it was actually my voice that I could hear. And, you know, so I initially sort of pushed that back a little bit. So it was more probably claircognizance is one of my stronger clairs. So and that one, but it's interesting because it has changed over time. So I did want to develop my clairaudience, so I did do that a bit more. So now I'm hearing more. But along the way, and I only shared this yesterday, sometimes we as mediums need to take note of how you're relaying the information, because sometimes if you think, oh, I'm not seeing things, but you're saying to somebody, I can see this, they're showing me this in that reading or that connection, you know, that you're repeating what you're getting. And because it becomes second nature to us, we don't always be aware of where it's coming from. So it's a bit like I'm hearing bells, or I'm hearing car tires, or I'm hearing footsteps. So of course that's clairaudient, you know, it's to listen to the way you deliver things. Or I'm feeling this, you know, I feel that they're showing me heart issues, you know, I'm feeling that they're short of breath, and, you know, prior to passing. So I'm really feeling that in here. And, you know, and then that combination of all that info. And I've felt that the claircognizance is an easier one at times. So if you're doing a lot of readings at once, then they'll give me more of that, because it's easier then to just, you know, I'm just hitting all that information. Yeah. Whereas to actually really connect all the time with your third eye and see, I find to hold that energy over a long, you know, if you're doing, say, I don't know, 10 to 20 readings at once, that can be very draining. So it's like spirit then will look out for you and go, okay, I'm just giving you all this info, and, you know, that just flows through easily in, out. You know, you're not necessarily really amplifying all those other clairs. So I do find it fascinating, but I do definitely get images, so it's a little bit movie-like at times.
Yes.
And and it's flashing, and you'll know this, Xavier, it's like you get 2 seconds and you really are the interpreter. So at times, it's really a case of being able to interpret that in a fast kind of way, because otherwise you do miss sometimes.
Sitting there going, and you might be quiet for ages trying to make sense of it. So I find if you just start speaking, more comes through. But
That's
I
right.
describe it as channeling for cognitives, a block of information, as someone describes. Like I might see something for 2 seconds, but then I can tell a 5-minute story about it, because it's like a big bit of information, but I get it quickly, and then I can just keep talking. And I haven't found how to explain how that works. I don't know.
Well, I think, once you start, when you look at it, when you start getting into the logical side, we don't want that logic or that rationale to step in. And so we don't, we really need to just, we're in that zone, because if you think about it, you're in those two sides of the brain. So when you're, when you're in that creative, when you're into that story side, like you're able to reel these things off. But if you click over to that, hang on, that doesn't make sense to me, which as humans, the mind wants to do is to go, where does that fit? And you learn as you go along. And I think that's really important as a medium, to give that information and allow that person to decipher it. And it's almost like sometimes things are really cryptic, but it's not for me to unpack, so I just hand that over. Sometimes if you're doing a show, that isn't as entertaining because people don't fully get what you're getting. But to me, I'm more about being like as correct as I can for spirit, but I'm also about that person that's sitting there as well. So for me, things like, okay, that person, even like we come across, and Xavier, you know this a lot, like suicide or tragic deaths or accidents and things that happen. And to me, delivering that person already knows how they passed. I don't need to go in front of a lot of people in a public forum. And sometimes I think it's important as a medium to remember that we're dealing with real people that have gone through grief and loss. And, I will describe it as they've taken themselves home, and they know what I mean. I know what I mean. I don't need to then. And, I think that's important as well, because you do get some really, you get some really sometimes heavy things and sometimes quite tragic things, and everything is relevant for that person. But for me, and even in my connection to spirit, is I'll often say, I don't want the, okay, somebody's been through abuse or whatever. I don't need to be shown what it is. They know what it is. I can acknowledge it, but I don't need to go into depth with it, because, that's their story. And I think for me, having respect for people and, really being mindful of how I deliver things is important, and always kind of has been. It's part of something that I take seriously with mediumship. I just feel that, that sits for me.
With that, and a lot of that comes, talking about how sometimes some things come through quite cryptic, or you might just get flashes of things or a big block of information. You've got to work out, okay, what do I get out first? I guess this is where the bravery comes in a little bit with your role as a medium, because a lot of people would say, well, why would it be, say when it's a name, a Kevin or a Colin or something, it's a Kevin or a Colin or something like that. It's like, well, if they're trying to communicate, wouldn't they just give the name and say exactly what it is? And wouldn't they give information that helps them, not just describe, what had happened?
Why do they do that, you reckon, Tonia?
Like, because you get the other side where they just go, oh, this is just people fishing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And I, and in this industry, you want to have people that are skeptic. That is 100%, you got to keep it real. And to me, you don't want things to be fluffy and, I've got a grandmother who likes roses and smells great and wears an apron, sometimes when that comes through in a show, you're like, oh, kill me now. But not in that way, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but names are really strong for me. And then I found that I went through, people would forget, or you'd throw a name, and people can often, if they're giving you a name and they don't connect to that name straight away, they'll dismiss that connection. So I kind of went off that for a little while, and it's only now probably the last, I don't know, 2 years that I've gone, no, hang on, they're giving me that. I'm just going to hand it to that person. And it's a little bit like learning a different language. You really, you get better as you go along. So
for you or for the loved ones on the other side trying to pass the message, like, is it hard for them and hard for you, or hard for, like, how does
with them? Yeah, for me, like, so
okay.
say as the messenger, because they're clear on it. They know who they are. Yep. And so it's a case of just being able to get clear, or and even asking them to be a bit clearer so you can get, the name can be more accurate. So sometimes it'll sound like, there can be variations because the sound can come through a little bit different. But the more that you tend to trust that, the clearer that comes. So it is a case of developing that muscle, if you like. So to say, okay, I'm hearing names, I'm going to just throw that out there, and as you get more confident with it, then you'll find that the name is clearer and you're noticing it. So I think it's like anything we learn, isn't it? We start off and we're not great at it, but then we build that muscle up and becomes better. So that's what I've noticed for me.
Confidence as well, I guess, that you back yourself when it's something that, no, that's definitely
absolutely something
there. It's interesting. You were saying in an Instagram post that like 5 days ago or something, you were doing a show and you were getting someone that was from the other side that was bursting through. I had to read it 6 times to go, where? Did someone not know the address? And then I'm like, oh no, there's someone from the other side trying to get in. Because how confusing. You've got people in the audience and you've got people wherever.
It is a killer. And Xavier will know, she's done shows before too. That one person that isn't placed, and it happens. I've been to shows and I've seen.
What do you mean by wasn't placed though?
So the person actually hasn't put their hand up. So you'll get so with a mediumship demonstration, spirit comes directly through. So you'll give all the evidence, and you've got a group. The other night there was 20, and there was this male that came through. He was very insistent, and he was very clear with the spirit information
that came through.
Yes.
So I'm working out what's on the ground and what's in the
Nick, I'm like talking freaking mediumship language, aren't I? Okay. So the spirit on the other sides come through as they do in a show. So what happens is they'll be lined up, and so I can see that they're around.
Lined up. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So and I've had like one of those for the other night, and it's not uncommon. They'll come through during that day because they know you're going to be connecting with their loved one. So it's not unusual to start getting things to come through, and I'm like, no, wait, hey guys, don't talk to me yet.
Really?
I'm not there. My memory's shit, so don't give me stuff yet.
Not while I'm in the shower, please.
That's right, exactly. It's like, I'm going to forget that. So so with this male, and again, that's a confidence thing and something that I've learned along the journey, because I've had it happen before, that you always get an email or a message for somebody that says, oh, I know who that was now. And
that doesn't help when you're at the show, because people think that you made something up.
Exactly. I know. I used to joke about it and go, could you not say that in front of 20 people? Like, seriously. But, but that's human too. I've done that myself, that you can't, like, you forget, like, we've gone through life and we've lost many, and maybe lost somebody 30 years ago who was an uncle that you've long forgotten about, or,
it
happens.
Yeah.
So I had the same with when I was doing MBS in Sydney last year. So, you've got an audience of 150, and I've got this, it was a gentleman came through, and the 2 girls at the back. So I more or less just say, I'll park them up and move on, because you can't keep going when there's no one claiming them. Yeah. And the girls came up afterwards, they were a bit shy to put a hand up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, you got no chance.
Seriously, it happens, and people get, like, I even say at the beginning, please just put your hand up. I will work out where I need to be and sort out, if there's a few of you, we will narrow it down. But I'm not going to make you get up on stage and take your clothes off. Just put your hand up, like, seriously. But they still don't. So
do you find it's interesting, because so that person may not have been in their life or say if someone comes through from the spirit that maybe the person's forgotten because it was 25 years ago or whatever, that person coming through in spirit, if it doesn't feel as relevant for the person that's there in the room, is this interaction or healing sometimes for the person in the spirit more so than the person in the room? Or is it always for the person in the room? Is it sometimes for the other side?
Yeah, and no, absolutely. Sometimes it can be for the other side, and sometimes it'll be, I've had cases where people go, I don't really want to speak to that person. So they're kind of like, oh, I didn't really, I didn't really resonate. And I'm like, hear me out, because often they'll come through first and then they'll bring that person that they want, behind them. So
sneaky.
Yeah, it's important to honor that, like for whatever reason. But quite often, if they haven't had a connection with them, like I had a lady's dad come through. Now, he passed when she was 4, so she had no memory of him. So he was giving me all this information. He gave me dates and all that kind of thing that she couldn't verify. But she actually said, I'm researching my family right now. So he knew she was in the process. She needed to hear those bits of information because she'll uncover it. So, you're not going to get clarification on the night, but she did say, look, I am in the process of looking it up. So I'm like, right, that's why he's come through and that's why he's sharing that.
I feel like I do my platforms a bit different because I think that'd do my head in trying to place people. I don't know how you do it. You'd have to have a really thick team too, because standing there when no one's getting it would be kind of like, I don't know, I think I'd just get embarrassed. But they would figure it out. It's up to them to figure out later. And when you're confident enough in your abilities, you know that what I'm getting is accurate. And if you can't place it, that's your problem, I guess.
Yeah.
Love. But so I do it like my platforms, I do smaller ones and read for everybody. So I would go to a person and say, okay, now we're doing you. And then I say it's a message as a mediumship night. So if someone in spirit in the loved one doesn't come through for them when I'm connecting with them, they will get a message from their higher self or a guide or something anyway. So I do it like that. And I go from person to person. So that's my way. And I haven't done one for ages because of COVID. But so stuff like that's coming up. But that's how I do it. I think I prefer the one-on-ones where someone's asked me specifically. They'll tell me about the person. And then I'm skipping the guessing game of going and checking if it's the right person. Because as soon as I find it's love, as soon as they start talking about their loved one in spirit, they're there. So I'm in the room.
Yeah, that's 100%. And it is, you're correct. I've noticed that too. Like as soon as you get that, I'll get the spirit come through, I give all the information. Then as soon as that person connects, then the floodgates open, 100%.
Place them as you say, So I like the one-on-ones because I don't have as much experience with you with it, but I like them because then I know as soon as they're talking about it, then that person comes in, I'll get goosebumps, and that's I know they're here, and I sense them next to me or next to them or wherever it is. And I usually would start with the oracle card deck that I have specifically for mediumship. They pick a card that their loved one draws them to, and it nearly, I reckon 90% of the time would end in tears because it's exactly the message they want to say. And then as I'm reading them, the card reading, they'll tell me more information. I have little things like you might have some quirks that you know what that means when you see a pattern. Like if they offer flower, often if they want to apologize for something, I'll see the loved one in spirit in my head get down on their knee and offer them flowers, like a bunch of flowers. Although if they're an avid gardener or love certain plants, they would offer them a particular potted plant instead of bouquet. So that's how I know. And then and the flowers the type might mean something. So that's them apologizing for something in a way to help the person on Earth's healing process, something that they needed to know. So that's how I get that. So do you have any where over time it's meant something?
Yeah. And sometimes too, what that might be for you is you're connecting psychically to start with. See, for some people, that's, like when you're going to the person, right, you've got that auric field, you know what I mean? Like, so you're connecting there and then that opens up for that spirit to then come in. So,
and then I cry nearly every reading that I do because all the love, I feel it and I get overwhelmed with all the love. And but it's beautiful and I love seeing
it. Is beautiful. It is. And I've that's probably one of my favorite experiences is when I've been shown, taken like through meditation and, you know, even some trance work, taken across and shown where they are, and
that's what was my
feeling. You know, you just can't explain it. And you know, I say to those that are grieving, like, seriously, so much better, like so much easier over there. It's so much lighter, the energy. It's just, you know, where the struggle here is our human existence. And when you connect with you know, their energy that they have over there, wow, it's like that pure unconditional love, I call it. It's like just this, you know, opening of the heart, and everything is light and easy. So, you know, it's great to have that and go, I know I can share that they're not suffering, they're not sitting in,
and they're not angry,
you know, any pain,
because they know everything, and they remember why they came.
Yes.
Remember why they chose to come down their lessons, and why they chose to leave at that time. And they're not annoyed at you for jumping out your bedroom window and sneaking off when you're a teenager. And like, there's nothing there like that. And so, and they hear all your thoughts. You know, I'm sure you would agree that most people would say, but I didn't get to be there when they passed, or I didn't get to say this and this and this. But explaining to them that they heard it all and they know it all, and
that's
they
right,
understand
confirmation.
no anger, there's no regret in that way. So I would love to hear your explanation, because I've been shown multiple times of what it's like when someone crosses over.
Yeah,
that's a big question everybody has. What happens?
Yes.
So your version, and then all media, we all see it differently too. So you might explain it differently to me, because it might be the perception of the way it's happened. I think it happens differently for some when they cross over, how it shows for them. So you might have had different accounts of what happens when you die. So could you explain to us what you've been shown happens when someone crosses over or goes home?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, you know, the white light theory, 100%, I, you know, connect in with that, like, and the loved ones being around that person. You know, I've witnessed that when someone's close to passing, where they've, you know, you can just see them around, or if you don't physically see them, you can sense them around, and it's like a no doubt that they're there to help, you know, that person transition. And even if it is a sudden passing, they're still there. They're all knowing, they're always around. And, you know, for the most part of it, once that transition happens or starts to happen, the pain and all that human, you know, it's kind of, and it reminds me of what I see is like that physical body there, but that energy just lifting out. And it's like the lightness of that, the leaving, and the feeling of wholeness, and just that connection. Yeah,
being out of that physical heavy dense body, finally, like, yes, I'm out.
Absolutely. And you know, and I do feel that they do have a review, is what I've been shown. In my card deck, I created one of the cards was a healing center. So it was like there's this healing center that, and it's not only about the physical, you know, it's not only about the, you know, to me it's shown that physical is connected to the mental. And, you know, when we pass over, and exactly like you just said, Xavier, it's like we have that realization, oh, I could have done that easier, or geez, I was hard on that person, or, you know, gee, I struggled through things that maybe I could have changed, you know.
Do that again because I stuffed
that's exactly. And how often do you hear
connection part?
Absolutely. And how often do you hear that people say as they're getting close to the end of their life, I don't want to come back and repeat this lesson? Like I had that with my mum, used to repeat that, and she was like, I don't want to come back and relearn this lesson, so I need to do it right here. And I'm like, it's like a I don't know, it's like we there is that drop of information that comes as we draw closer to the end of life. So I say to people, you know, get that now. Don't wait until you get to the end and then go, God, I've got to quickly correct everything that might be, you know, that might change that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a big blessing when you can realize that earlier in your life where you can do something about it, whereas on your deathbed you can't do anything about it. So
not really, and not change a lot, you know. And you know, I think that's the reminder, is that and I think that's a big thing with doing the work that I do, is the reminder that we're not here forever. So, you know, really living the life that we choose needs to be something that's done daily, and whether it's small practices or things that help us navigate this lifetime. You know, we shouldn't be suffering, we shouldn't be without. And I really think that's the essence of living a great life, is to be able to, you know, use that hindsight and go, you know what, like, even for those in the spirit world that have passed early, that maybe missed out on that, live it for them, you know, and utilize our time here and do it the best that you can. And because we're all doing the best we can, but I just see a lot of suffering that sometimes seems a bit needless. And Mick, you would be with that with your clients, like, you know, it's just getting that relief would make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. There is some crossover a little bit with the work that I do and the work that you guys do, and particularly when past lives and things come up as well. And when people are having a past life experience and they die, there is a lightness they feel inside, but there's also a light that they go towards and surrounded with people. And when that comes up every single time when there's someone that passes, it shows, well, there's a bit of a theme. So I don't think my clients all get together and come up with the same story and come and tell me. So there's obviously something to that, whatever it is. It's interesting you've done so, and for them to have these experiences and really feel and go through and get these lessons, I obviously use trance for that.
Yeah.
That's what hypnotherapy is. It just helps someone go into that trance state, which is just an inner focus. They're not zombies. But that's that inner focus trance, to be able to access that information. You said that sometimes you've done some trance work. Has that trance work helped you get access from a higher level of information, and how have you used that in your work as a medium?
I find, like, I love to go into that space, you know, as often.
It's a very nice space.
Yeah, it is. Yes, I agree. Like, and you know, I probably don't get to do it as regularly as I would like, because of course, you know, you need to have that time and dedicate that and set that intention. I do regularly meditate, but going into trance, you know, it's like different. That's a total another level. But I do find that's where the gold is when we start to really look at, you know, if there's things that are coming up for us, or things that we need to know, it's easier to access rather than just straight meditation.
I find it's definitely a different thing. I've been a meditator far longer than I've used hypnosis and self-hypnosis. It is different. It's like the brother-sister. I think they're very similar states, but they are a bit different, and it is an intention to go there.
What's the difference between trance and meditation, for those listening that don't know what the difference is?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. You answer that, Mick. You're
all right.
More,
in 30 words.
This is your jam.
So, oh my gosh, that's such a hard thing to answer.
Sorry.
It is. It's because they're very, probably the brain waves are probably in a very similar state.
So you just a level to dumb it down, like.
Yeah, I mean, there's different. Yeah, but there's different trance states as well, where you can access different forms of information. I think it's just where you get into a state where you can be open to that subtle information or stuff that's already there in our subconscious, right? So when you're in that hypnotic state, you can access that information. So when it's hypnosis, you're going into that deep state to be able to access that information. And often, depending on what type of meditation, so that's why it's really difficult to say, because there's so many different types. But say, for instance, like a transcendental meditation, you're going into a place to literally where your mind isn't even present. So you couldn't say what it feels like, because as soon as you start explaining what it feels like, you're back in your head again. So you're out of it. But a meditative state is far less stable than a hypnotic state. So it is a different, it feels very similar, but it is different. So I could have someone in a hypnotic state, and, you know, for instance, when I'm working online, you know, a kid could come to the door and my client would say, no, another 10 minutes. And then I'd say, okay, just close your eyes, and they're straight there. Whereas meditation, someone breaks you in meditation and you're done. You're like, damn. So you can't stop thinking of anything else and you can't get back into the state. So there's definitely a different, and it is the intent.
We have touched on that before. I think when I channel, I would be in trance then, because I could open my eyes and explain to the client everything. Go back straight into it.
That's more of a trance. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Meditative, you wouldn't be talking to the client because you're not using because you wouldn't have access to your mind and have the presence to talk to someone, because hopefully you're in your different place. And often with meditation, it's not about, you can have wonderful experiences in meditation, but it's often not about what you felt in meditation. It's what you feel between the meditations. So becoming more meditative. Whereas hypnosis is more like a fast track into a deep awareness to access more information. So having said that, how do you get into a trance state then? How do you do it? Do you have a process that you put yourself through?
Yes, yeah. And you know, I'm no expert on this. I have done some trance mediumship workshops before, that was sort of my grounding. But I find now, and I haven't done it for a little while because I had the CD and I used to play it through my thing of like, so I do like a guided, you know, and it was almost like once you acknowledge that was that background that put you into that state, then it became easier. Like it was almost like your mind went, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing here. And I found that easy. The more repetition and the more that I was consistently playing the same thing, it was like, then it certainly made a difference. And a little bit like we were talking before, you still need to build that muscle a bit though.
I've got some tricks that could really help. I could actually help people that want to do, if they're mediums and they want to do more trance mediumship, I could help them with a process where they could quite quickly get into that state they need to by themselves without having to listen to a recording or anything like that, where you could get into that deep state. And some of that is kind of cheating. So
that's great. We love cheating.
That's exactly. So can you
two ways of doing it. So you could
yeah,
this is cool. I can work with mediums. Because one of the things is like how we use our memory. You can use tricks for memory, or you can use hard work. So you could just do a lot of repetition until your body recognizes, okay, this is what I'm doing here. Hypnosis is a really cool thing because we could go into that deep state, feel that deep state, and in that deep state, put in some post-hypnotic kind of prompts, so that, you know, when I do this, whatever you do, you can easily go back into this state and connect in with this state. So you could do something really quick and easy. So your subconscious could help you do it so that you're not trying to do it with your processor that is like kind of decision maker.
It's better for the clients.
Your big processor at the back to just go bang and you're in.
Awesome. So we could get names like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's up to you. But I can just help you get into the trance state.
Well, we could just absolutely tweak that center with that intention, couldn't we?
Yeah. So it's interesting. So in that trance state, you feel like you get a really good focus and
definitely makes it easier. And again, it's something that, like I said, I haven't done for a little while, because you kind of do things and they work really great, then you fall into the human habit of going, oh yeah, I'm fine, and then absolutely something that's definitely beneficial. 100%.
Wow, that's cool.
Tonia, I'll ask you something else, psychic medium to medium. How often did you get asked this, and then what's your go-to answer when you meet someone and they find out what you do? And they go, and then they say, oh, cool. This is two reactions that I get. One is when I say I'm a spiritual, like I'm a psychic medium, intuitive healer, they either go like back away and freak out because I'm reading their brain and I can see who they slept with last week. Or they go, oh, what do you see around me?
Yes.
Do you get that one all the time?
Absolutely.
They want you to just turn on and start.
I now can look and go, yep, they're not going to get it. And I'm like, yeah, I do, you know, and there are times where I'll go, I'll do coaching, or, you know, I do one-on-one sessions and leave it at that, because you just know they're not ready to hear it. And it's like, and for me, what I find is when people meet me, and that's probably part of my appeal and with my branding with being a cowgirl, is you're down to earth. So I get a lot of skeptics that come on board with me because they find me relatable, and I'm not dressed in the traditional
caftan.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I do find, so I get a lot of males. I probably, you know, do readings for men, and, you know, and a lot of those that would probably shut down and go, oh, I'm not sure about that, actually then they'll come around about it. And I find it, if I don't put, like, not that you would push it onto them, but if I don't make a big deal of what I do, then they're like, they want more, and they're like, you know, then they'll sort of follow on, and then I often get them come to me for a reading.
So you could just say that you just bring, I'm a facilitator and I just bring families together. And you just don't tell them that, you know, some of those family members have passed away, but just say, I just bring families together. Like,
you could be really creepy and go close up and whisper, I see dead people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And depending on
for the ones that, you know, and for the most part, people are open. And for the most part, I do say, you know, look, I'm a medium. And if they say to me, you know, what do you see around me? Say, look, just book in. I'm not, because it's not something that I have turned on all the time. And I say that to people, like, you know, you just can't go around, you know, and even like, you know, chatting to Lisa, who did all the shows that they'd walk along and it was like, oh, we just connect to that person. Well, they had to sign a waiver, they had to get them, and that she certainly had no preempting of that person, but it's not just walking around being turned on all the time to go, oh, I can see your grandfather, and oh, you know, watch out because there's something's going to, you know, happen here, or you need to sign this, or, you know, just all of those things.
And we're not reading their minds. This is nice to know, because people so the ones that do freak out when they hear what we do, they kind of get a bit, oh no, they might know my deep dark secrets to reading my mind. It's like that. We're not
absolutely, and they'll often joke about it, and I'm like, nah, sorry, I'm too busy to be tuning into your problems.
Yeah, exactly. And we got to also have boundaries, and so we tune out and just be humans, like because we're just people like everybody else. So
exactly,
you don't want to be working all the time.
Exactly. And I think when you own what you do, it's no different to, you know, if you're a plumber and someone said, oh, can you have a look at my plumbing of the house because they met you, you know, can you just come out and have a look? When you own what you do, you don't have a problem saying, yeah, look, book in, you know, it's if you want to have a session, you know, jump on my website, there's time slots there.
It is an interesting thing. It's like psychics and financial advisors probably cop the same thing, where it's like, oh, you're a financial advisor, what should I do with my super? Like, you know, like you wouldn't say that if someone was a sex worker, would it? Like if you're like, I'm a sex worker, you're like, oh, well,
got any hot tips?
We've got 20 minutes. It's like, book in.
Well, it's the same. It's a respect. So if you wouldn't say to a plumber that's visiting your house for dinner, oh, while you're here, can you check out my leaky tap? That's
You'd be surprised. You would be surprised.
That's
as a carpenter joiner, you would be surprised. It's like, oh, wow, carpenter joiner, that's great. Can you just go fix this?
And you know what I also think too, though, a lot of that is a reflection of where you're at that time.
Yes.
And I know with you sharing that, Xavier, you're talking about, this is a while back.
Definitely a while back. I used to actually try to feel like I had to demonstrate to them back when I first started.
Yes.
So I would tune in,
yourself.
even if I was having a few drinks at a party, but then I started saying, oh no, I'm drinking, I can't do it. Don't tell anybody, but that's a lie. I'm actually better at it when I'm drinking.
Just like these podcasts. It's great. This is water.
I would say that. I start saying that, so I feel like I didn't have to be on show. And now, you learn the boundaries and say, well, I'm more than happy to do a proper reading because I'm a professional. So you book in with me online, you pay your deposit, and that's how then I'll be all yours. But right now, I'm just being a, you know,
exactly,
having a good time.
and you don't get it, you know, like I can't remember the last time that somebody's said that to me. So I think, you know, the more you own it and go, you know what, I'm a professional, this is what I do, you know, and it's the same as you know, in this industry, a bit like most industries, you'll get people that are, you know, that want to connect on. If you're doing things like where you're out in the public eye, then you'll get those that want to come along and be, you know, like it's kind of like, well, can you get us in? No, I can't, sorry, look, you know. But that used to happen to start with. I would get a lot come up and go, can you, you know, here, can you speak to this one and that? But I don't get any of it now because I just don't, you know, it's like I'm moving on doing what I need to do and I'm comfortable with that. And I don't feel like, you know,
that's like an attraction thing of energy. Yeah. So your mindset and you value yourself and you've got yourself at a level. It's not snobbery. It's just like, this is how I work and I respect my boundaries and I have some rules in place, I guess. So I value my worth. And so then you're not going to attract. Yes, Mick, sorry.
I've got an embarrassing question. I've got a really embarrassing question. And yes, it's because I've watched the movie Ghost. Do you get that from the other side then as well? Do you have to set boundaries from people that have passed over? Because like we're talking about the people that are here. What about the people that have passed over? Do you get people hassle you like the movie Ghost?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
You like you do. And especially when you start off, because again, you're starting off, and I suppose similar to exactly what we're just talking about. You start off and when you connect the spirit world, you love it. It's exciting. It's fun. And so when they come in, you're very much like, oh, wow, this is so cool. So you kind of, you know, go a bit nuts with it. And then as you start to do it more, you're like, I can't be staying awake from 1 o'clock in the morning till 4 because they're wanting to go, oh, you know,
that's happy hour for them too, isn't it? For some reason, or you're more susceptible at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, you know, I had early on, I did a reading for a group and I had the mother. Now, I didn't know who was going to come through. It was just a group and they brought their dad along as well. But the mum had passed with pancreatic cancer. So I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I was like, I had this excruciating pain and I was thinking, I'm going to have to cancel because I feel so bad. And it was a pain that I'd never felt before. It was really weird. And it wasn't, you know, because I was sort of probably just at the beginning of my journey, I was like, oh, am I going to have to cancel? And they were flying in from all over Australia. And I'm like, oh, my God, I can't, you know, I have to be able to do this. And it wasn't till I sat with it and went, hang on, this is not mine, you know. So then I was like, no, go, you know, thanks for showing me, but I need to be right to do this. And so then, so it turned out it was a mum who passed from pancreatic cancer. Wow. So, you know, it was like that was the impression. I knew as soon as I acknowledged that, it was like, there's a female coming through, I knew that should be relevant. But I was like, please come back later. So it was a beautiful mum. It was her 4 daughters and her husband and, you know, and she wanted to just desperate to connect in with them. So you learn as you go along. And even now, sometimes I'll forget because I'll go, oh, I've got a massive headache. Oh, hang on. Yes. Wow. Okay. No, I don't need to be shot in the head today. Thank you.
Yes, wow. It's like I don't need to feel it. Thank you. I don't the same when it's whether it's mediumship or healing. I might get heart palpitations because they get them or something. Yeah. Feel some energy from an experience I had. I'm like, okay, I don't want to feel that. I get the point. Thank you.
So
get it away.
So the saying, like that old saying, don't stare into the abyss because eventually it'll start staring back. I know that's kind of a creepy, scary thing, but that's kind of true. As soon as you are exposed on this side, obviously to people here that you have psychic abilities, people think you're nuts or they think it's fantastic. But then on the other side as well, do they see, oh wow, we can see the cowgirl because they're near this person, or we can set up a meeting somehow. Do they set things up from that side as well? Like,
yeah, they do. They orchestrate it to happen because many times I've had, you know, I did a reading the other week from a lady that I connected with on American radio, and her daughter had passed, and she'd been wanting to connect for 2 years to her daughter, and she chose me to be the one to connect for her. And there was a lot of parallels.
Wow.
You know, and I said to the mum, there's no coincidence that you've connected with me. And she just happened to call up and I was the person that she connected with, you know, but the parallels were shown afterwards when we really went a little bit deeper and got to connect. So I honestly believe that. And I say that to people if they say, I'm not sure if I need a reading. I say, look, it's not about, I'm not saying come to me. You need to find who you resonate with. You know, and that could be anyone. And I'm like, do not, you know, if you're not drawn to someone or you think, you know, someone says, here, come and make a booking with this person and you don't feel like there's that resonance, then please don't, because you need to be, You know, you need to be where you feel comfortable. A reading is about trust. It's a three-way street. And that's what I say to people. It's, you know, everything's needs to align, and, you know, you've got to trust that.
So do you have a PA on that side as well? Seriously,
Hell
like,
yeah.
do you have
Hell yeah. Yes.
So you
absolutely.
do. So you've got someone there just going, all right, you over there, you over there.
Our highest guide, like, seriously, and I've had to utilize mine many times, and I've got a room full of people, or you're doing in front of an audience of 100, and you can imagine the people lined up. So they'll want to push in, they'll want to, you know, they're all desperate for connections, and as a medium, you want to be able to give them, you know, get through as many as you can, but you also need to say, you know, hello, there needs to be some order in the camp here, because otherwise, you know, you can imagine all of that energy and you're sitting in with that, and then suddenly you're not becoming clear, and that will affect you being able to deliver the message. So definitely need a gatekeeper there to go, hey, you know, to call on, and at times go a little bit stronger order over there, please. Like, so
have you found that in a show where everyone's sitting listening, and all of a sudden you just go, just everyone quiet? Like, does it get kind of like mode where you just?
I'm really good at talking in my head.
Okay, it doesn't come out there.
Otherwise, she'll look a bit more psycho.
True.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's not as easy as it sounds then, obviously, because you do have things happening that you're aware of on the other side and here. And that's, in all honesty, that's not something that everyone has to navigate, you know, two different realms to work with in one go.
Absolutely.
So obviously that's a practice thing too, or was there a natural?
No, I feel it's again, you know, it's like it's something new that's foreign to you, you know, like, and I even feel, and speaking to people that have grown up with it, you still have to navigate your path on it. And I believe we're all, like Xavier said before, we're all on this journey uniquely. So it needs to be what works for you. So what might work for me might not work for somebody else, but definitely navigating it, learning it. And that's why I was drawn to go and you know, do courses, and I still will now and then do courses, and a lot of inner personal healing, like the Louise Hay was really powerful for me, because we need to do the healing too, you know, to step up for this. Like, if you've got a lot of stuff that you haven't worked out, you can imagine, like, and it's not that I'm the perfect vessel, you know, I'm not the perfect vessel, like, as in, you know, I still do stupid things, but, you know, ultimately I'm a work in progress that, you know, I sort of set that as my intention to, you know, tread through life learning as I go still, and being open to those lessons.
We're getting the theme of that, of people from all kind of walks or all kind of methodologies of helping people, where they themselves are aware that they need to work on themselves to be able to help others as well. So that's really nice to hear that. That's a very authentic thing to do, is to recognize yourself and how important it is you prepare yourself. So it's nice to hear.
And you'll often find, and you'd probably notice this too with clients, you'll get a pattern where you'll get 6 in a row with the same issue, and I go, oh my God, I need to hear that, because I'm saying it, like, you know, oh, you need to drink more water, or you know, you need to get out in nature more.
Or books you've been reading, books you've just been reading, and 4 clients come in with exactly what that.
That happens to me a lot. So I put it out that I would like to not be so naive about a certain subject. Like, I wanted to understand more about addictions, and then I had 6 clients in a row, the number you said, that had really strong addictions and things, and then I intuitively got shown how to help them feel more comfortable and how I could work with them, and now I feel really confident. Even though I was only those 6 in a row, I got shown 6 different types of issues, different kinds of drugs, different kinds of anxieties and terrors and things, and so now I feel like they came to me to show me how to help them and people like them in those situations. So now I feel much more confident in that ability. So
that's so cool. Yeah.
It's automatic manifestation as well. You're attracting what you feel. And then the experiences we've been through, we attract clients that have been through similar, so that we are relatable. And we were talking about before, like, you go to where you're drawn to. A good psychic, someone who works from their heart, not going to get offended if they've seen you before and then you feel like for a different issue you might go see somebody else, or they're your friend and they see somebody else. We're not
same with any therapist.
and any therapist, if they're coming to the right place.
Warning signs.
If you get offended, that's probably
warning sign. Big
right
red flag for any therapist.
They've
Absolutely.
got stuff they need to heal and work on still too, and they're not in the right frame of mind to help you. So.
Absolutely. And we've got to be mindful of that, don't we? Because there is that sense of responsibility, and I take that really, as a serious thing, which I know you guys do too. It's like we're responsible for how people feel, and to me it's important that I can leave someone better than I found them.
Yes.
So to me, it's really about, like, I don't connect into any fear or negative messages for people, and I've set that intention all along for Spirit to say I'm not interested in the to me, if it can't benefit somebody, then I don't want to get that information. And they're great. They don't give it to me. So
yeah, I always have that rule that they if they're showing me, it's important for them to know. But I'm never going to get that. People will sit down and think, don't tell me anything bad. And I'm like, well, they're not going to tell you anything bad as such. They're going to give you maybe some steps to help you navigate something coming up in your life. So you choose what happens from that, and let's work out what you're going to do about it to make it go smoothly.
It's challenging. It's meant to be. It's the same thing that I can't promise anything with the hypnotherapy, because stuff that comes up is probably going to be pretty challenging and upsetting and difficult. Hopefully it is, in fact. But it's not going to be something that you don't need right now. It's not something you don't need right now, but it might be challenging and upsetting, but it doesn't mean that's bad. Maybe it means that you're ready to hear that and learn from that. Yeah.
And some people will just go from medium to medium, or psychic to psychic, or hypnotherapy, fishing, until they hear what they want to hear, not what they need to hear.
I do set boundaries with readings, like as in, and that's why sometimes I will do coaching for somebody, because it's not actually, they might want to connect with me for a bit of mentoring. But I don't, I say with readings, once every 6 months is heaps. Like if people are coming back more, I'm like, no, listen, I'm going to give you the same stuff. You're going to pay me. I'm not taking your money to tell you what I told you, 6 months ago.
As well, because we could just take their money and help them to help themselves and to learn from it. I love teaching while I'm doing it and explaining as much, so they can go take those tools away and we could just keep letting you see us and then taking your money. I'm going to offend some chiropractors. I always joke and say I'm not a chiropractor. I need to see you every week.
Shout out
to
all the chiropractors out there. Wow.
Disclaimer.
I love whatever modality you're drawn to for your healing.
It can be, that can be in any field. That could be hypnotherapists do that as well.
Other chiropractors will be teaching people how to maintain their bodies so they don't have to see them regularly. And some, just like any modality. So I am joking. Well,
no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just trying to make you. I'm trying to make you feel bad. I'm sorry.
But that's what I mean. So that's my little in joke, because people understand that. Because
but that's a lovely thing to hear from you guys, though, because I wasn't aware of that like if you're and it makes sense now, but I haven't really thought about it, I guess. But if you're going for readings for like medium readings, like it could be all sorts of readings you go for, I guess. But say if you're going to a medium for a reading, kind of for the same thing every couple of months to stay in touch with a loved one, that's not healthy, or that's
well, exactly. You want to facilitate that person being able to connect for themselves, and I'm always for that, because exactly, because that's what the person wants. I mean, ideally they want to connect direct,
but it's not what they need. With that, what they want is to have you just tell them what's going on, but what they need is to be able to find their way to connect.
They need some healing to instead. So you might shift. I think that's why I offer intuitive healing, because sometimes a client will come in saying what they want, but their higher self is telling me what they need. So a mixture.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not obvious to us what we need.
We don't.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Very healing. I love mediumship for that, and I'm sure you would get so many beautiful stories and the beautiful healing that would come from people just knowing that their loved ones are okay.
Yes. Yeah. That
Explaining how it works is so much. So the bonus of them being able to come through and share some messages as well, just as a confirmation for the person you're doing it for, really, because we know.
Absolutely. And that's sort of my, it's probably one of my biggest drivers in what I do is, helping those go through grief. And that's why I created my card deck, because it was like, I said to Spirit, what can I create that's going to make a difference and help people? And, the mediumship card deck, I've actually got, like, Spirit showed me, and it was like when I came up with the concept, or when Spirit did, because I say it's not me, I'm just the messenger. Yes. When I shared it with the publisher, he's like, oh my God, he goes, that's crazy. There's nothing like that. And I said, no, that was the whole idea, is to create something really unique and something that can give people direct hits to their loved ones in the spirit world. And
I need that for my clients. Thank you.
Yeah.
So they've got deck called, and where can we
So yeah, and look, I'm not just saying that to play my cards, because it's like, you'll be drawn to what you need. But that was a tool for me, because I know I use tools regularly if I'm setting the attention for something, then if I can have something that helps me, a bit like what you shared, Mick, like, a recording that you share that we can purchase to directly say help connect. Well, I'm going to do that, because I know that then shortcuts me having to navigate that journey. So that's the same with the cards. Like,
exactly, they're just tools.
More in the time. Like, if that's why I like to use the deck that I use to start it off, because it speeds it up, so they're getting as much as they can in the hour that they've booked, or with it. So I like to give as much as possible. And
half the time it's not.
See how that.
Yeah, and half the time it's that intention more than anything. And that's what I say to people, not just my card deck, any card deck. If you've got a card deck that you totally resonate with and you use that all the time, then that intention of the message being clear is, becomes
so the paper isn't magic, the drawing isn't magic, it's you actually using it in the intention. That's where the activity is.
Absolutely. Right. And that's what I say. Like, the biggest the best thing that I've heard from the feedback with my cards is people were moved, the emotion that they connect with them. And that was my intention, was to really create a few shifts, because we're dealing with grief and loss, but to get that feeling. And that's not an easy thing to get. So I do, I can't take full credit, because Spirit really just showed me what I needed to create there. And, and that side of it that has helped people, and the feedback that I'm getting is, I'm like, yay, if I can make a difference, I don't care if it's 10 people, that's what they're created for. And so that the power in that, I think when your intention, again, Mick, like you said, it's about the intention. I wanted something that people would resonate with, and I feel I've done that, so I'm happy with that.
And that's what you can take credit for, is listening to. We do this. I'm the same. We're very humble, and we say we're conduits for spirit, and we just pass the message on. But we can take credit, and you can take credit for listening to your intuition and trusting yourself completely,
and working on yourself to be in that place to do that.
Having the courage to try and just bring out the cards and create them, and know, you're putting financial input in there. You're doing a whole lot of work in there to get it out there, so you can take a whole lot of credit, because we don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes, I think, to say that I listened and I created this for people. Yes, I had help, but I actually did the thing, because other people might get the messages and they don't act on it. So in helping so many people find peace and healing with what you do. That's beautiful.
Thank you. No, I love what I do. Like, I honestly, every day I feel blessed that I can make a difference. And that, to me, is, the ultimate, is to be able to feel that and make a difference to people. So I do that, and I'm happy.
Yep. We're very selfish, because we get so much out of it.
Oh, we do. So I feel like, regardless, it's like, I feel, really blessed to be able to do that. And I do with my work, I set intentions. Like, I don't probably do a million readings a week. I limit myself, because I know with my energy what works for me, and I know the best way for me to be able to give people 100%. So I do honor that as well. And I also have the balance of my human life. So I ride my horses, I get outside, we're on 100 acres here. It's a beautiful property. So it's, utilizing that as well and getting that balance. And that was this year for me, was really about saying yes to more horse riding as well as yes. And it's actually, if anything, it's made it busier. And, you would think, oh, okay, if I spread my intention and I'm having more, fun, not more, but getting that balance, but it's actually balanced it out beautifully. So that's been amazing too. And I think sometimes we have to remember that it's filling our cup up, a bit like you said before, Mick. It's like, we've got to get that balance right for what allows us to also be humans as well in this spiritual game.
Beautiful. We have to get you on again because we have so many questions, but we've already hours.
I know we'll be here for 6 hours if we answer them.
Yeah.
True.
I thought of more questions. Oh
thanks for all those people that are probably painting their house. That's the only way they got to the end of the podcast.
Painting their
That's
house.
right. If they see 1 hour, 1 hour and 40 minutes, they'll be like, oh my God.
Listen
to it as you go to sleep. It's great.
The shout out to all those painting at the moment. It's a good podcast listener.
But
it's been beautiful having you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. If anyone's frustrated with we didn't ask questions that they would love to know, they would love to see more of Tonia, or they want to chuck it on the YouTube comment section, ask questions, because then we'll be able to either give you some quick answers. We're creating an Instagram page too, so we'll be able to answer some questions for you. Or we'll get Tonia on again another time if she would love to.
Yeah, absolutely. No, more than happy to come back on anytime.
Would be awesome, maybe, or something like, so people can see how you work if they're not quite ready, sure if they want to book in with you personally. But where can people find you now? Have you got any events coming up? Are you doing anything online or in person? How can they?
Pretty much mainly readings online at the moment, but at the MBS in Brisbane, if they recover from all this water, come April, and I'd say Sydney MBS as well. And I do shows locally here at Seymour at Bessie Eldo, which is a great little crystal shop that's local to me. So I feel really blessed to be able to use that space. And Queenscliff, Side 8 Crystals, we've got some retreats and shows looking at happening again, depending on timing and things, but over the next few months that'll be up and running as well, and some retreats back again. So we're like excited.
So you'll have some of that stuff up on the cowgirlmedium.com?
Yeah, absolutely. On my website. Yeah, and the Cowgirl Medium. You can book in for readings there, and my book and cards are available there too. So jump on.
And Australia's _cowgirl_medium is your Instagram handle as well, so they can keep in touch with what's going on there too.
Absolutely. All on the website. You can direct to whichever platform.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tonia. That was so fun. It was so nice to speak to another medium and chat about all that stuff, because I don't get a chance to do that very much. So that was lovely.
Me too. Yeah, loved it.
Beautiful.
Thank you both. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
That's it for another episode, but that doesn't have to be the end of the conversation.
Feel free to leave your comments on our YouTube channel, or for those podcast listeners, you can email us at mickandthepsychic@gmail.com to leave your feedback or questions.
I'm a certified hypnotherapist and timeline regression therapist. If you wish to contact me to explore the source of an issue you're facing, just book a session at hernhypnosis.com.au and include the promo code MATP for 10% off. You can contact me on Insta and Facebook at hernhypnosis.
Check out my website at optimisticxavier.com.au if you feel you'd like to connect with me as a psychic medium, spiritual mentor, or intuitive coach. Include the promo code MATP for 10% discount. You can also find me on Insta, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
We look forward to connecting with you again next time as we attempt to leave no stone unturned.
Bye.
All right, cool. I reckon that should be okay.